Good evening peeps, Liesl here again, and here we are all again for another extraordinary bits between the bits. I always say straight in because we all know that I like to waffle, but I did think today actually, you know, because it is bits between the bits, I've got an excuse to waffle a bit, which will be the mainstay of today's thing. But we have got some instruments to display. Q&As to answer, one or two other things, so I'm just going to pitch in and straight on really. So we did have a community member question. It was Nancy. Thanks Nancy, a very good question, and it actually leads into something I wanted to do a little while ago about boxes really. So the question was, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, but how many boxes do we have, Liesl, for this year to convert and build and generally create into wonderful cigar box instruments? Oh, there's no short answer to that, but I am going to tell you now. So I'm sure you can see behind me, here's a selection of them anyway, and there's a few piled up on top of Stompy here, and some very precariously piled up boxes here, as you can see, and various other things. I will go through these, by the way, and kind of elaborate. And I was thinking about that question, you know, how many boxes? Because, you know, there's boxes, and then there's tobacco tins, which I count as boxes, obviously, especially with our recent visit, shall I say, to the world of Kanjo, because you know, as I say, I knew very little about Kanjo, this being my prototype and the first one that I ever did build. And then of course along came Candice and Ray. Just proves what I say, that it's down to the community, you my wonderful subscribers, and a warm welcome and a huge thanks to my very recent subscribers that bring the inspiration for all these things, because yeah, that's my prototype. And you know, I had seen like the traditional Kanjos with the round can. I thought I'm not quite brave enough to attempt one of those yet. This seemed a good way to go because it was flat, right, and a little bit like a box shape, and that's really how I started with these. But if you do remember this one, which was briefly featured, one or two little changes. Now, as you can see, we now have volume control independently on the can. I'm just determined to get the maximum groove out of the smallest little can. Yes, absolutely I am. Everything else is the same really, only I fitted this one with that huge piezo, the one that I thought, why did I ever buy this? It doesn't fit anything. And yes, it got broken, but I did manage to resolder it, and it does actually work. And if I can reach little Roland, we could probably have a little demonstration. Now, I've only just strung this as usual. Somewhere there. And I don't know what it's in, to be honest. It's either a G or an A or something. I don't know. I will admit, it's another one of our instruments to feature. If I can reach behind me and pick up some slides. Let's see what we got. So as usual, it's chaos in the sound lab. We are getting there, peeps. We are. Yeah, like there's sort of like half room to move now. I do want to get this set up. And I do apologise for always dipping off a camera, but yeah, if you saw how small it was in here, you'd understand why. So, let's plug this one in and switch it on. Oh yeah, not bad at all. can tell, the piezo's in the lid, so it's picking up every single noise in here. Now, you can prevent that by insulating it with the glue. And I always do, but I didn't with this one, for a variety of reasons. I actually wanted it to sound a bit hissy and tinny. Also, it was a job getting it all in, actually. And the lovely piezo itself had a very strange size of nut to hold this on, basically, which I couldn't find one because all the ones I had were just a fraction too small. I thought they were standard size, but obviously not. So I just stuck it in with epoxy resin, and it doesn't seem to have moved since. So this from me, and let's give it a little rip, shall we? As you can tell, I'm no Kanjo player. I'm not used to the like bodiless nature of a Kanjo at all. As you can tell, let's try it with an ordinary slide, shall we? Sounds pretty good to me anyway. I will be coming in the future days, in the up and coming days, to you with some live music actually, because it did occur to me, and again thanks to your wonderful comments. One very big general consensus was to play more live music and to play it loud. So that is what I intend to do in the week to come and going forward, hopefully. I better just switch Roland off in case we start feeding back again. So yeah, I'm happy with the Kanjo, the sort of standard Kanjo. The great thing about these is they're all neck, so you can swing them around, you know. And I'll show you a good way to slide actually. I wanted to feature this one. I've never really spoken about this one, which is my Swisher Sweets. Absolutely awesome diddly bow. As you can see, this one is a cardboard box. And he's kind of the long lost brother, really, of Big Ben. If you remember the Big Ben build, is on there because they're the same company. Like Big Ben was made from a King Edward cigar box. And I think, you know, largely in the UK, maybe Europe and that, they were marketed as King Edwards, but they're Swisher cigars. And here's one from the United States. From Florida, because it says so on the back. And I was lucky to get this. I got it in the UK, and I kind of struck gold straight away. I didn't really realise because it's quite a rare box. And initially I went to make it into a hobo fiddle, so like a one-string violin, but the whole thing just kind of fell on its ass basically. So I took it apart and made it into a diddly bow. But the beauty of this one is I've gone in and lined the inside with wood, because I wanted it quite strong and to resonate quite a lot. So it has got a lovely sound. And it's fully acoustic. As you can see, right at the end, I stuck the lid on upside down. But I think that just adds to the charm. Yeah, so we'll give him a little go anyway. Albeit brief, I know, but I will actually be featuring the instruments individually coming through the week, including Gemma, yeah, Oh, it's quite a unique sound, as we know, if you've seen her on the video, going back to last summer. Oh, it seems like ages ago now, doesn't it? So there's that one. You'll be pleased to know that I've got some new strings for Paco. And I've got some Diodario's medium weight, because I think they're going to really suit this instrument. I have just got to set the nut position and the depth still. I want to take my time on that, because it's got a nice low action and you can actually play this quite well with your fingers, this one. So yeah, that's hence really why I wanted to slightly lower the action on him. But I am very pleased with this one. And plugged in, he has got a lot of crunch, I've discovered. So that'll come in very handy for playing it loud. Yeah, Paco, marvellous. Rocky Patel Eagle guitar. And to show him off again, really. Other things you can do. I wanted to show you this one here, right? Now this one I call Tone. The reason it's called Tone is because I only had a tone button to put on the volume control, and it just sort of became a bit of a joke, really. But this is one that I built just to take away when I went to visit folks, and I kind of threw them together pretty quick. Now earlier in the week I did post on the community post a little photo and a little write-up about the first guitar I ever built, because I found this online. Like, I couldn't find this photo, but then, you know, like Google says, here's some memories for you, and it actually flagged Dave the First. If you've seen them, if you haven't, see the community post, it will make sense. Sadly he is no more. No, he's gone to the great rock venue in the sky. He fell apart basically. But this one is in a very similar vein. You can see it's just cut out, you know, so that you've got a position for the pegs. And this is actually some packing wood that was thrown out in the parking lot. Someone moved in and had this great big like refrigeration unit. It was more than just a freezer, you know, and dumped all the packing wood outside. But that kept me in guitar wood for about 2 months. I was quite happy actually. But what I really wanted to say about this is that it really is, you know, scrap wood city basically. Old box which I stained and just left for ages. Really, it's sort of like nothing fancy, bolted into the back. You can see the neck going through the body. I've forgotten what a great sound this one makes, you know, especially with like quite a heavy slider. So it's just thrum, and really basic, you know. There is a piezo pickup in there obviously, but you can see his resonator spring. It's before I had any hole cutters, so I just did our method of going around with a hand drill actually on this one, and I just think this one's amazing, you know. And yeah, it's basically amazing because I didn't think about it, I just threw it together. This is my theory anyway, you know what I'm saying. So that's that one. You know, I've not really featured many of these. Yes, much more on the way. Many of you will remember, probably again from back in the summer, we had Dave II, who was also in that vein. And here he is. I thought you might like to see him without his box front. You can see how this was just kind of a project of let's make something absolutely cost-free or as close to it as we can get. And again, plywood that was scrap left over from something. In fact, Ray, like her whole neck, she's behind me, as you can see. was again a piece of plywood that I found a couple of weeks ago or whatever it was in the parking lot, and the whole instrument just evolved, shall I say, around that piece of scrap wood. So there's Dave. We're going to fill this in because he's having this triple piezo, which is another thing I said I'd show you because I didn't have one that hadn't already gone into a guitar. Here it is. And this was £6, I think. Or it's cheaper because I got a few, so it's £5, which is about $6 US. So not expensive really. And I can get it out now. It's got this really funky. I've got to be careful because we know how delicate these things are. And I don't want to get that soldering iron out again. Oh. 3 piezo discs or buzzers on this really natty jack plug. It's long, so it's good because you can like go through, you know, quite deep into the body, and I think that's good with a cigar box guitar. Yeah. So and it's also got this really like fancy end piece, as you saw in Ray, but obviously we couldn't show you because the cans all closed and everything. So glad to be able to show you that. That's going to go inside Dave II, or Boulder's Love, as we were calling him through the build. If you remember, there he is. Now you remember he had a great big single coil pickup in there. As you can see, I've removed that and I've just patched it. Yeah. With another piece of cigar box. That's the whole nature of this one really. It's kind of to highlight what they're like when you keep patching them up and going again, you know. And you see some that are just so bodged together, but they sound the best. And I must admit, I was quite pleased with his funky headstock. So he's having a triple piezo pickup fitted to him. I'm going to put the lid back down, and I'm going to strengthen that neck as well, because I think the joke at the time was if the neck lasted 6 months, it'd be a miracle. Yeah, well, it's lasted a bit longer than that now anyway. Maybe 8 months, maybe longer, I don't know. But still going strong, and I'll show you how we bodge him back together. Nothing fancy, absolutely. You know, I've got my own sense of humour, as you all know, folks. Do bear with me, peeps. Yeah, we're nearly there. We're nearly there, okay. So that's Dave II. Now there is something I want to show you, right? Because we will be branching into license plate guitars, which I did plan to do last year, but I've only just plucked up the courage. Yeah, there is a lovely plate that I'm going to use, and I'm building the body, but more about that next time, because I haven't got it all to hand, and we would be here all night actually if I started talking about that. But what I did want to show you was this, because just before Christmas I had something of what I'm calling a bit of a result, and here it is. Now if you're in the UK, you'll recognise a very vintage motorcycle number plate, the old black and silver ones, which I think in around 1980 or something like that, they finally changed for like much more highly visible yellow ones. That's right. Now I did work in the motor industry for years, and I think they probably stopped actually registering with these in about 1974, but I know you can still have them on a car that was manufactured anything up to 1980. So there you go. Just a bit of a nerdy fact for you there. And again, because it's an A suffix, if that were a real plate, because this isn't, it's just a vanity plate, it's not road legal, okay? But as you can see, it's cigar box guitar 1A. And yeah, the A suffix was 1963 in the UK, which is when they first started using letters on the registration numbers. And then it was completely different these days, yeah, and I don't understand the modern ones, but like, there you go, a little bit of history for you. And I thought we'd do something of a bit of a combo of like a license plate guitar, but it'll be a resonator guitar, because again, I've not built anything particularly resonator. There were some wonderful comments about fitting resonators, and I will get back to us all on those, because it's keeping all the balls in the air, you know, it's keeping all the plates spinning or whatever. And this is Liesel's brain, as we know, right, which does tend to scatter left, right and centre. So if it seems like I've forgotten you, I haven't. And everyone who suggested these things, thank you very much. We do have another marvellous Rocky Patel box, and I thought that'll just fit quite nicely on there. And it makes me laugh, actually, because it does remind me of, like, in the UK, you know, like an old Ford Consul, or a Vauxhall Victor or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, so that's the idea. I might as well tell you, because, you know, I don't want to keep too many surprises. It's going to have a slim neck, because I'm actually going to make a double string diddly bow, like Gemma. If you saw Gemma back whenever it was, during Gemini season, actually, that's correct. So yeah, in the summer, she has a unique sound. I've not got her in here because I was playing her in the front room earlier, but it's going to be something similar to that. But I'm thinking that the metallicness of this plate will really amplify the very delicate sound of that instrument quite nicely. Yeah, so yeah, I can't remember where I bought this from. It's online, but you can buy these like for car shows and stuff if you want. Obviously they're not road legal, and I don't think this actual registration number probably ever existed, although if it did, I promise not to actually drive this on the road, okay? For the DVLA. That's right. I'm joking, of course. Purely for entertainment purposes only. There we go. So, peeps, there it is, really. But before I round up, I didn't quite answer your question, Nancy, because, I mean, they're the boxes we've got. Now, there's things like this, which were previous guitars, and they've kind of bitten the dust. Like the Lefty that I built. Yeah, because I'd never built a Lefty, I did kind of everything wrong, and it did start to come apart. So I've took it apart. Really nice neck came off of this, which I might rework, and I might rework this. I might convert it into a right-handed guitar. I might turn it back into another Lefty, or I might build another Lefty, because I haven't built a Lefty since I did this one, and I don't see why we shouldn't build more of them. I really don't. So yeah, maybe coming soon we'll do that as well. So that adds to the number. I did do a very brief kind of count up, Nancy, and somewhere around 50 anyway. There's somewhere around 50 cigar boxes at the moment. That's always subject to change with me, because I'll see one on Etsy or eBay or something, or I'll be out and about and I'll say, oh, I want that box. So they kind of flow, you know. But yeah, I mean, I might as well show you very quickly if I can get to them. Actually, no. I think we'll leave that for the next video, because I can just see me rummaging around, which will be very boring on camera. It's so informal, you see. You know, it's nice to have you around and you're always welcome. And, well, time just flies away, doesn't it, really? So, anyway, peeps, there it is for today. Hopefully that's covered a few things in this extraordinary Bits Between the Bits. And after all that lot, if you are still with me, then thank you ever so much indeed, yeah. And on that note, it leaves me only to say, wherever you are, do stay blessed. Wherever you're up to, do stay safe. And whatever life brings, keep building. Thanks for joining me tonight, as ever. It's been an absolute pleasure. Okay then, peeps. Bye for now then. Bye.